What is up guys, welcome back to another video and welcome to the first video of our new series called Transitions, where we're going to be putting together all the moves that we learned on the previous videos and learning how to move through them. This is when it gets fun because we're no longer stuck into holding one particular position, but we can actually train our body to move from that position to another position and then to another position, and then is when the possibilities of your practice become endless. Today we're going to start with crow to handstand, and for the purpose of keeping this video useful for all levels, we're going to take a look at three things. First, the fundamental strength, so whether you have crow or whether you have handstand or whether you haven't mastered those positions yet, you can still work on building your strength for that transition in the future. Then second, we're gonna take a look at the technique of the transition itself, and then third, how to move from crow to handstand, back to crow and back to handstand, so you don't only get crow to handstand, but you get 2, 3, 5 and even more crow to handstands in a row. So without further ado, let's begin with the video. The first element that we need to work in order for us to press from crow to handstand is sufficient amount of shoulder strength. We're going from a bent arm position to a straight arm position, which is basically the concentric part of a handstand push-up. Of course, it is much easier than a handstand push-ups since we have our legs tucked in, and again, it is only half the range of motion of a regular handstand push-up. But the point I want to make is that it is still a move that requires a good deal of shoulder strength, so we need to focus on that first. I'm gonna leave you guys with 3 exercises that are gonna help you acquire just that. The first exercise is going to be the old-fashioned pike push-up. The reason is because there is simply no better exercise to build your shoulder strength than this one. Also, what I love about this exercise is that it is easy to adapt to your level and make it effective for you. If, for example, you are still not able to do one full pike push-up, just go back to the basic and start with regular push-ups or even knee push-ups if necessary. There is no shame to scale down an exercise, and there is no rush to achieve anything. We are all in different stages of our own journey, and you're gonna make your training effective for you. So once you can do 10 push-ups comfortably, you won't have any problem doing pike push-ups, even if you do half the range of motion. Then full range of motion, and finally elevate your feet to create a 90-degree angle with your legs and your body. So I want you to pick a progression that is challenging for you and do it in between the 4 to 8 rep range, and do 3 or 4 sets with 1 or 2 minutes of rest in between sets. The second exercise is going to be more directly towards the transition itself, and that is going to be bend arm pike negative. You're going to start on pike position and bend your knees to do a little jump, bringing your knees together towards your chest. From there, you're going to bend your arms as slow and as controlled as possible until your feet touches the ground. Keep your elbows in and your scapula protracted at all times to create a really solid and strong support. And you can also use a pillow to prevent a strong hit on your knees. For this one, I want you to stay again on the 4 to 8 rep range and do 3 or 4 sets with 1 to 2 minutes of rest in between the exercises. The third and last exercise is a little bit more challenging than the previous one when it comes to technique, but I believe it to be incredible to build neuromuscular connection on our bent arm position, and that is going to be down dog to crow. And as the name implies, you start on down dog, bend your knees to grab some momentum as we did earlier, but this time you try to land on crow pose. This one requires a bit more practice and strength, but it will really fire up your shoulders and make you become strong enough to go from crow to handstand. When it comes to reps on this exercise, honestly it can vary to only getting 1 rep to performing 8 to 10 in a row. Rest as needed, but again 1 to 2 minutes is a good sweet spot to shoot for. Now, after we've done the tedious work of developing the strength, we can start having fun and working on our crow to handstand technique. Alright, so now let's take a look at the movement itself, broken down into 3 simple steps. First is going to be getting into a solid crow position. To master this step, please go back to my crow tutorial. I am putting the link up here as well as down in the description. Once you feel stable in the position, shift your weight forward enough to get your hips as high as you can, while at the same time pressing the ground away from you to lift your knees off your triceps. And finally, continue to strengthen your arms at the same time you are strengthening your legs until both your legs and your arms are completely straight and you end up into a handstand position. I know it is a ton of information to think at the same time, but I promise you that if you practice over and over, you're going to develop the body awareness and the muscle coordination that you need to master that position. I'm gonna give you 3 tips that are gonna help you to do just that. The first tip is to begin with your knees as high as your triceps as possible, to have your hips elevated and on top of your shoulders already and making the movement a lot easier. The second tip is try locking your arms first and then slowly bring your legs up. This can be a bit harder to control, but a lot easier on the shoulders. The third tip is to use a wall for assistance when you get to the top, because even if you have a solid handstand, it is a totally different game of balance when we go from bent arm to a straight arm position. This particular skill is as much of a strength-based movement as it is a coordination and a skill type of movement. That means that you don't only need to get strong, but you also need to practice and do that movement over and over until your body becomes used to that movement pattern. Now I'm gonna leave you with 3 common mistakes that we can face when going from crow to handstand. The first mistake is going to be beginning with your knees too low and your hips too far back, and this will make the whole trajectory a lot longer. Same with your arms. You don't want to start the movement having them at an angle less than 90 degrees, as this will make the press up incredibly tough for your shoulders. And third, do not ever bring your legs straight before your arms, as this will increase the resistance in your shoulders, as well as making the balance so much harder. I know I just added a whole ton of new information, but honestly we're all so unique and so different that what you might be missing, it is not the same as what somebody else might be missing. So I want to give you guys all the tools so you can assess your own weaknesses on your own and see in which particular areas you need to work the most. To end this video, I'm going to be taking care of all the people who can already go from crow to handstand and want to take it to the next level. So here you are, you already applied all the tips from this video, or you might already had crow to handstand prior to watching this video and you're working on getting crow to handstand several times in a row. So the first step is going to be getting the second part of that movement, which is going to be going from handstand to crow. The easiest way that I know is tucking your legs in first, keeping your knees very close to your body. Second, you want to be slightly leaning forward the entire time to counterbalance the weight of your legs coming down. And finally, you want to bend your arms with control while you land your knees in your triceps. So even though it requires far less strength to come down from handstand to crow than to go from crow to handstand, it requires more control to actually come down and a whole new set of coordination skills. So my advice to you is, again, practice over and over the movement until you get comfortable. And once you learn how to come down from handstand to crow, it is time for you to simply repeat the movement back and forward to build your endurance. You simply want to apply all the tips mentioned previously, especially the ones that make the exercise easier, since the less energy you spend on each rep, the more reps you're going to be able to do. So keep your hips high at all times, do not bend your arms too much, and try to move your arms before your legs when you go up and your legs before your arms when you come down. So there you have it, guys. That's all I have to say for today. Be patient with crow to handstand. It takes time to develop the strength and to develop the proper technique to be able to press from crow to handstand, but I guarantee that once you get it, it's going to open new doors in your practice. If you did enjoy this video, please give me a big thumbs up to support me and to support the channel. That really helps a lot. Also, share with a friend that can benefit from this video and all my previous videos. And if you happen to be new to the channel, subscribe for more content like this. Let me know in the comment section down below what else you want me to cover, and I'll be more than happy to do that as well. And as always, I'll see you guys all next week. Love you.